Hello and welcome to this video on how to show you how you can make your own very database-like system in DBM to store whatever you want. The great thing about this is that you don't need a MySQL database, you don't need anything specific, you just need something to host your bot with. You can't really host it or run it in the program itself, you have to export it to command prompt, etc. And it's also variable, so it's not a file that constantly gets rewritten based on new data. It's multiple different files for servers, users, roles, whatever you want. So it's very easy to make. So as a demonstration, we'll be making a point system. So let's get right into it. So obviously to get points, you want a daily command. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the folder for the bot. So here's my folder. Here's where all of the things are. Let's delete that folder for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a new folder, and let's call it points. All right, because we want to create a point system. That's all we need to do. Just create a new folder, name it whatever you want. This has multiple uses. You need the latest mods installation. So get DBM mods right now if you don't. And first of all, we need to check if the user already has points. So what we're going to do is we're going to read file. Before we actually do that, we want to store the user ID. So member info, or that is, there it is. Command author, member ID, store it in a variable. Before that, okay, now the path dot dash, that is the file directory of your bot, so always put that in front. Then we want the folder, so points dash, and then we insert the variable ID and put points dot text. Boom, there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check, or we're going to read a file in the points folder with the name of the user ID who executed the command dash points.txt, and we're going to store it in file. Then we're going to use a condition, so check variable like this, file if it exists, which means basically if the file already exists, which obviously makes sense, but that's what the comparison type exists does. It doesn't check if the variable exists in the action sequence. It's more versatile than that. So if true, we're gonna skip a few actions, because if false, we just continue. Because now what we're gonna do is, now we assume after this that there isn't a file yet. So what we have to do is we go to file control, format text, task create file name, and then we insert the member ID, points. Make sure that this file name is exactly the same as in the read file. We want the file path, so points. We don't put anything in the input text because we're only creating a file now. Now, because we're only creating a file, we skip one action. So if the file already exists, it doesn't need to create a file, obviously. All right, so then we clone it, create task write, and then we're gonna generate a random number. So generate a random number from, I don't know, 56 to 123. Random, put that in there. And then we're gonna put the random number in there, just like that. And actually, yeah, so that's that. And then we're just gonna write white check mark, new account created, and your, let's see, your balance is, and then we put in that. Points. Perfect. Then we have to end the action sequence. And we're basically done. So that's the very, very basic principle. But what you'll notice is that if this runs once and the file doesn't exist, it creates the file and then it goes somewhere else and it doesn't work anymore. So since we already know that the file is already there, we write, we don't create. So we write, we store this, actually, so we have to change this to jump action 9, like this. And so we're going to assume that this file variable is a number. Then we have this random number, all right? Then, once we write in here, we take parse, like this, parse int temp vars, or temp var, I think that's what it is. Temp vars, my bad. So we just put this like this. Temp vars member ID, perfect. So this parses it as an integer. It makes sure that whatever the variable is, it's a number, which is very important. Then all right, then once we have that, we want to close this bracket here, add a plus sign, and then parse int, and then we don't want the member ID actually, we want the file, obviously. Parse int temp vars, and the random integer, like that. Always remember to balance your brackets, and this is very important in basically anything. Always balance your brackets, and that's why we have multiple different brackets. We have these, we have these, and we have these. Alright, these are the 3 different brackets. You always have to have the same amount of brackets facing the same direction. So we have one bracket facing to the right, let's say. So we need at least a bracket, or we need exactly one bracket facing to the left, which is here. Doesn't matter where it is, it just needs to close. That's what it's called, closing brackets. So we have here 2, so we have 1 and 1, 1 and 1 there, so those are closed, 1 and 1, 1 and 1, boom. So what this will do is it will add the existing points that it already had, plus the random generated number here. Very nice and simple. Then we just have to do it like this. Daily points redeemed. Your balance was you have gained, and then we put that in to equal, and now we can just take this input text and copy it in here. So it does the math operation twice. That doesn't really matter as long as it works. To equal exclamation mark. Boom, there we go. So that is a very, very simple daily command. Obviously you can like add DBL tokens to it, so you can limit it to how many, or you know, if people need to vote for it or whatever. And obviously all you need to do to get the member ID, the user's account balance, you just take the member ID, plug it into this, store the file, boom, there you go. That's the account balance. Now I'm going to show you how this actually works. Okay, so now I've run the command. There's some bit of an issue with the token. All we have to do now, we set this up. So it works if you run it in DBM, but it's preferred if you run it in node.js. Now we have here the points folder. As you can see, it's empty, so if I do daily like this, boom, new account created. There we see the file has been changed. This is my user ID, so we can just copy the ID like that. You can see it's the same. So this basically is a way of identifying it. Then we just edit, there you go, it bounces 97 points. Then if I do it again, obviously it would be a day later, so
the next day.
There we go. Day later, boom, there we go. Balance was 97, you have gained 85 to equal 182. You can see here, there we go. So that is how the very simple point system works with my patent pending CMD data, I don't know, I don't know, I'm making something up. This is just my way of avoiding the hassle of setting up a MySQL database. So if you thought this is useful, and you're gonna use it on your bot, make sure to leave a comment of your bot. Maybe I'll check it out, maybe I'll feature it, who knows. And I'll be sure to include some more uses of this very simple system in the future, such as storing welcome channels, or storing log channels, or whatever, you know? It has many different uses. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.